Bless you, man. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Notice of public hearing on the proposed 2022-2023 fiscal year budget during a regular city council meeting held on Thursday, September 8th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing on the proposed 2022-2023 fiscal year budget and a regular meeting of the City Council of Sandy Oaks, Texas is being held today, Thursday, September 8th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a forum of the City Council will be. City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, public hearing, regular meeting agenda, September 8th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks is being held today, Thursday, September 8th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. The City of Sandy Oaks will also provide a live stream video and telephonic access to the meeting through the link provided on the posted agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by video as provided by the agenda and permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting. Please indicate whether you intend to speak during the public hearing portion regarding the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget or during the citizens to be heard portion of the regular meeting regarding another item on the agenda. A recording of the telephonic meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Madam Secretary, may I have a quorum call?
Before I do that, did you mention a time that you're calling the meeting to order?
Called to order at 6:33. May I have a quorum call?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Martinez.
Present.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
Alderwoman Alvarado.
Here.
Alderwoman Martinez is here. She stepped out briefly. Alderman Coffendaffer.
Here.
Thank you. And we also have the city attorney Cassandra Ortiz and myself available, and we do have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd ask you all to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Into item 3, citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. This time is provided to citizens to address the city council on issues and concerns related to the city of Sandy Oaks. Please note that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits city council from responding, commenting, or discussing items or topics during this portion of the meeting that are not included on the agenda. City Council appreciates hearing from citizens, and your thoughts and questions are valued. However, civility and a sense of decorum will be strictly followed. All speakers must address their comments to City Council. Speakers shall refrain from public criticism of members of the City Council that are prohibited by law. This item will be open for up to 30 minutes, with 3 minutes to each speaker. One person may speak on behalf of a group. Up to 3 persons may register on behalf of the group in order for the spokesperson to be allotted up to 9 minutes to speak. If there are more than 10 speakers, each will be given 2 minutes or 6 minutes for a group spokesperson. Do we have anyone signed up?
We did not have anyone signed up physically here. We do have a written submitted via email. That is,
I do have a written comment, public comment for agenda 9/8/22 from Citizen Ball. And I will read verbatim. I'm requesting, ma'am,
It's regarding the budget. So it's during the public hearing of the budget, not.
okay,
oh,
thank you very much. You keep me straight almost. Okay. No one has signed up for the citizens to be heard portion of the agenda. So we move to agenda item number 4, public hearing on the 2022 fiscal year budget. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $95,445 and 23.57%. And of that amount, $18,355 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll. This time is provided for citizens to address the mayor and council on the proposed budget. Please limit your time to a period not to exceed 3 minutes. The time is 8:37.
6:37.
I'm sorry, 6:37. The city council will now conduct a public hearing and to receive public comments on the city of Sandy Oak proposed annual budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. Excuse me. Okay, 6:37. We have one public comment, written form. I will read verbatim. I am requesting the following to be read as public comment for agenda item 4 for tonight's meeting. The purpose of the annual budget is to identify the revenues expected during the upcoming fiscal year and allocate those monies to various departments within the city for the same period. The proposed budget includes a revenue entry for carryover funds. This is not a revenue stream, but rather monies already identified / allocated from the prior years, typically for projects in progress. The use of carryover funds with regard to annual budgeting was addressed by the auditor, Ms. Fraser, during a prior audit review before City Council. I do not see any reference to the match component of the Hilltop Peaks / Lowman project. The amount of INS tax revenue is less than the proposed budget amount. End of quote. With no one else heard, the hearing will end at 6:39. And we will move on to agenda item 4A. Do we need my glasses? Let's try. Thank you. Oh, yeah, much better. We're now going to item 4A to discuss the budget and may either vote on adopting the budget or postpone the adoption of the budget for another day. So the budget is open for discussion. I hope everybody has a copy.
So on the, on page 2, it says, consider moving to other types of expenses, election expense.
Well, let's start at page 1.
Okay.
Going down the income, general revenue funds, we have an entry for Fiesta Medals and Scholarship Fund. And we canceled that program. So I'm thinking we should strike that from the budget. Do we need motions on each?
You will
amendment?
need motions for every amendment, yes.
Okay,
And then once it's adopted as amended, if there are any amendments.
would anyone like to discuss that or make a motion, leave it, remove it?
I'll make a motion that we remove the Fiesta Fund Medal Scholarship Fund from the budget.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer to remove the Fiesta Mala Medal Scholarship Fund from the income portion of the budget. I have a second from Alderman Rapino. All in favor of amending the budget by removing Fiesta Medal Scholarship Fund from income, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? With no opposition, the budget is amended by removing line item. And your questions are on page 2?
Yes and no, well, because I want to talk about.
Okay.
What Citizen Ball reflected on, for the carryover funds from prior year.
Yes.
So that's I guess in finance terms, that's a profit from last year, correct? That's leftover money.
Okay, let me start by addressing my entire experience with budgeting.
Sure.
It's like shooting jackrabbits with a bow and arrow from the back of a bucking bronco. The target keeps moving and the facts keep changing.
Right.
So that is my best estimate of profit from last year. Okay. The majority of that money was never allocated to anything because our ad valorem tax was budgeted at $405,000 and was actually 480 some $1,000.
480.
Yeah. So out of that 110,000, 79,000 was, or 78 or 79,000 was never allocated to anything. At the present time, we do not have any projects underway from the general fund. So, these are numbers that really weren't allocated. But that's only my take, and you're the accountant, and you're going to be dealing with this budget. So,
Okay. Do we want to consider reducing the 110 down to about 75K? Because I'd rather come in under than over. If the 110 is, by your phrase, shooting rabbits with the bow and arrow from a bucking bronco.
I would have zero issue with that, sir. You might want to.
Sure.
So we're looking at 21 to 22,000 that is committed already
Well,
out of that 110. Or is it 78 to
no,
79 that's committed?
there's a surplus from this budget
Exactly.
of potentially 110, but it's still moving.
Mhm.
So we don't really know that 110
Right.
is surplus, so it
Correct.
could be more,
Could be more, could be less.
Yeah,
But-
so
Well,
you want to be more conservative and say that it's probably going to be more like 79. Is that what you said?
That's exactly where I'm
Yeah,
going.
okay.
Yeah.
And there's no, I don't see any harm in that because we don't know.
Yeah.
So if it's more or fine, if it's less, we'll have to deal with it when we find that out. So, but like the mayor said, budgets are a calculated guess,
Yeah.
really. And that's the way I've always dealt with them.
Correct. Yeah, I
So
mean,
I have no, in my mind, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do that or keep the 110. So,
Either way it changes.
yeah,
that all said, I would like to make a motion that we reduce the carryover funds from previous year to 75,000 instead of the 110,000.
well, I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to reduce carryover funds from prior year from $110,000 to $75,000.
Second. She said.
Yeah, I second it.
He didn't say that.
And I have a second from Alderman Rapino. Further discussion? If not, all in favor of amending the general budget by reducing the carryover funds from 110,000 to 75,000, say aye.
No.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. You have your calculator with you, Alderman
I'm
Martinez?
doing it right now.
Thank you.
Is the accountant?
There's a 35K difference.
Right.
Okay,
That makes sense.
would you transfer that down to the general funds revenues, sir?
Yeah.
So 35,000,
Yes.
1,099, 345,
Total general fund.
or 1 million. 1,099,345.
1099 345.
00. 1,099,345.
Correct.
Okay.
And she's addressing the INS tax revenue. I'm sorry.
And Alderman Martinez, would you let's go all the way down to the very bottom line of net ordinary income. What? No, let's not do that yet. We may have something else.
Yeah.
Okay. We're still open for discussion.
Why are we wanting to move the bank service charges or make the consideration of it to other
You,
type of expenses it says on here?
you'll
I'm
have
sorry,
to, you'll have to ask that question of the city treasurer.
It just makes better sense because all of the others have like categories and then subcategories. So bank service charges is like, it's on its own category when it could, in my opinion, go under other, what do they call it? Other types of expenses.
But it still show bank service charges.
Oh, yeah. But it would
Okay.
go, if you look at page 3, then it would go under where it says utilities, insurance, payroll.
Mhm.
You'd have, bank
We're just trying to put it in a different category.
Well, I'm just trying to clump it to other type, instead of it being a standalone category, it could go under other types, the same with, election expense, why not put it under other type of expenses instead of standalone category, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yes,
Subcategory.
Yeah,
instead of something all by itself, it makes all the sense in the
Yeah.
world.
I've been wanting to do that. but never brought it up.
Okay, with that explanation, is there further discussion? Anyone want to make move an amendment?
I'll make a motion that we move the bank service charges. Move that to other type of expenses on the sheet,
Okay,
as explained by our treasurer.
any further discussion?
I'll second.
I have a second, I have a motion from Alderman Coppendapper to move bank service charges to other types of expenses. Seconded by Alderwoman, Martinez. Further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The amendment carries. Other discussion?
But she doesn't. She doesn't go.
She's just talking about the
I-
proposed budget is less than the proposed budget.
If you'll ask the question, I can answer it, sir.
Yeah, no. So in the comment by Citizen Ball, says the amount of INS, is it INS? Yeah, INS tax revenue is less than the proposed budget amount due. Is there a particular, is that?
Yes, there is a reason, and it is factual.
Okay,
But last year, INS tax rate generated $10,000 more than our actually expenses. When the county does our tax calculations, they deduct that. So, yes, we will be, and I forget the exact numbers, but we will be collecting less INS funds because we over collected last year. And
That's why there's.
that's one of the moving targets that we have to deal with.
So is she referring to the road bond INS? Or I don't see
The
any
road
other.
road bond is the only INS
Okay.
expense we're carrying right now.
all right, so moving on to page 2, I don't think there's any discussion, but I'll make a motion to consider moving the election expense of $3,500 to other types of expenses.
Okay, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to move election expenses to other types of expenses. Discussion. Was that a second, Alderwoman? I have a second from Alderwoman Alvarado. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries unanimously.
Okay, that brings to question then. Catherine, as our wonderful treasurer, you say that we would probably need more than what we have allotted for court supplies. You say a little more. What's a little?
I may.
Let me put it this
Maybe another 1,000.
I'm asking for a number. So double what you see.
Yes, and the reason I say that, right, if you look at the budget now, and we didn't yet meet 1,000, and I think if I remember correctly, Citizen Ball had budgeted, maybe 2,000, I can't remember what it is right now. We're not yet at 1,000, but with the addition of, 2 officers, so you've got Officer Maldonado and then the animal control officer, so that's just gonna create more tickets, which creates more court docket, jackets, everything. So it just slows
Okay.
down. So that's,
Potentially 3, right? So with Maldonado, ACO, and the additional,
yeah,
and additional
yeah,
officer later
because we
on.
should be getting one in this budget year. So it's gonna increase the need of more supplies for the court.
And we had limited, somewhat limited last year, right? Enforcement in the sense of it was still kind of COVID. And so
Yeah,
people weren't moving around. as
Yeah,
much,
there-
so that's
there
why you
were
were
some-
short.
yeah, and then we have a gap of only an officer and
Yeah.
a chief and yeah, so.
Okay,
But I am finding myself having to order the jackets more often, way more often. I have been.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we increase the court supply from $1,000 to $2,000 for this budget.
Okay. I have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer to amend the proposed budget by increasing court supplies from $1,000 to $2,000.
I'll second.
With further discussion, with no further discussion, I have a second from Alderwoman Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed?
Now that would also take our,
That carries unanimously.
I have that changed.
yeah, that would total our municipal court cost to 115,057.
yeah, 57.
Mhm.
I'd like to discuss the newspaper publishing. Just based off of one email that I saw was over almost $700. Right,
Look at the Wilson
that was in
County.
Wilson County.
Yeah, you should see the Express news.
And so, yeah, I don't. So I'm two parts, right? I'm like, newspaper is dead. We don't need to be advertising it.
Well,
So-
we have to.
Right. So that's what I was getting to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My mind is newspaper's dead, but at the same time, if we have to do it, I don't feel like $2,200 is enough considering
Everything.
postings that we put up for new employees, posting for budgets, they're only gonna continue to increase.
And then ordinances that carry a fine also have to be. Fined.
Correct. So I don't think $800 is enough to make it 3,000. I'm thinking, I was thinking $1,800 to make it 4,000. But open to debate.
So what we do.
So right now, it's
Considering the
2,200.
general fund revenue is fluid, I think we should consider the 4,000 because either way it comes.
We're at almost 1,800 right now, but I haven't paid yet. I've not received the bill from Wilson County and Express News.
Yes.
Probably is an additional 2,000.
An additional 2,000? Oh, between the two,
Yeah, because
Okay.
the 700, and I can't
Okay,
remember
200, more or less.
what Express News was, but it was.
Okay. So yeah, I think $4,000 would be sufficient. I would make a motion if there is no further discussion to increase the newspaper publishing by $1,800 to $4,000 overall.
I'll second.
Okay, I have. Excuse me, motion for Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to increase the newspaper publishing line item from $2,200 by $1,800 to a total of $4,000.
I'll second.
I got a second from Alderman Rufino.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. I have a second from Alderman Rapino. Any further discussion? With no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed?
That'll take us up to 85,875. Correct.
That,
For the total operating expenses for the municipality.
that motion carries unanimously. Sir, would you repeat yourself?
I'm sorry, it would take us up to $85,875 on the budget for the total operating expenses for the municipality.
Okay. Further discussion?
On that page, yes. How did you come up with the fuel costs?
With the what?
I didn't.
Who came up with fuel cost guesstimations? I call it guesstimations because I know how fluid those numbers are.
Yep, that was me.
Okay. That's why I was asking how you came up with that
That's for
guess,
the year?
because I'm just, it's hard to say which way the numbers are gonna go.
Well, you're absolutely correct. And at the time that I was estimating it, it was high and now it has began to drop down. So,
Okay.
I'm comfortable with this number, but if you're not, you may
I just
propose.
wanted to make sure that we had enough for it. Not just for there, but for other places where we're looking at fuel throughout this budget for the officers.
I use the same multiplier for all of
Okay. I was just trying to figure out how you did it. Oh, let's see. That one, yeah.
The posting and mailing service will go up because, well, I mean, it's high now because I have to send Zoom instructions out for every court docket, every court. But if we go back in person, then that'll go down. So I guess we can just just keep our eye on the postage and mailing service.
Further discussion?
Is IT services, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have a confession to make. I sent y'all the proposed budget at the same time that I filed it with the city secretary. I completely missed utilities. So this proposed budget does have utilities in it.
It does.
Thank you, Ms. Yapton. But so this proposed budget does include that.
This one does.
So it's
Oh,
valid.
It's in there now. But it wasn't in the earlier proposed budget that I emailed everybody.
I thought it was.
No,
The proposed budget that's on file with the city secretary, that's been included in the proposed one, or it's just in what y'all are looking at? Because then that would also be an amendment.
This is an amendment to the filed one, the originally filed. This is different from the original.
Oh.
Okay, then that will need
Okay,
amendments if it's
then-
not on file with you.
It
we,
isn't.
Oh, it is.
we will need to amend the proposed budget as filed to include on page 3, the entirety of the utilities.
So that will be, amended
So
to
when we get to
include.
that, they can-
So you need a motion to
But
include
I think we need a motion to include the electricity and a second motion to
Yeah.
include the water.
so we need a motion. I'll make a motion to include the electricity on the filed budget, and a second motion to
Sir, one motion at a time.
okay. I'm machine gunning it. So
I have a motion from Alderman Rapino to amend the proposed budget by adding electricity at $42,000
I'll second that motion.
I have a second from Alderman Coffindamper to approve the amendment.
And not the water.
That was electricity, ma'am.
On the elec-
Oh, we're gonna do another one.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries unanimously.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm making, you ready?
yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to include, the utility water to the, filed proposed budget, for, what was the cost?
2,500.
$2,500.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Rapino to amend the proposed budget by adding water as a line item for $2,500. Discussion.
I'll second.
I have a second from Alderwoman Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, that carries unanimously. The other thing that I feel like we need to address is the GASB 54 Fiesta Metal Scholarship Fund. Since it no longer exists, it can be removed if council would care to make a motion.
We already did, I thought.
So we took it off the income. We
Oh.
at the bottom of the page, there's a line item for GASB
I'll
54.
make a motion that we remove the Fiesta Metal Scholarship Fund from the GASB 54 sign. Just remove that line altogether.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion to remove the Fiesta Metal Scholarship Fund from the GASB 54 assigned by Alderman Coffindamper. I have a second by Alderman Rapino. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries unanimously. Okay,
And if you would like, that I could do is do all the mathematic configuration and possibly postpone
postpone the adoption
the
until our
adoption
next
of it
meeting.
until we've got it clean.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good idea because it's currently unbalanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
So we're gonna have to adjust some of the revenue.
Negative, sir.
No?
Our last year's budget was approved with a $69,000 deficit.
Okay.
So.
It would be ideal to have a zero. Right?
Uh,
And I did want to ask a question there about the, and you and I talked about the TMRS. So when we get the checks and I balance everything and take the salaries out of it, but the TMRS is deducted, we hold on to that money until once a month I send it to TMRS. So when I go back to reconcile that payment, I have been taking it out of, we did have a line item for TMRS for the employees portion. And then we have one line item for the city's portion. So if you keep it as it is, I'm just wondering, how do I account for the employees TMRS? Because you had mentioned that where it says salaries TMRS, that's the city's portion, that you budget, correct?
yes,
So when I'm splitting, let's say it's $2,000 last month for the cities and the employees, portion, one lump sum goes to TMRS. And then when I go in and I split that, it's one line item, one payment to TMRS, and then I do a split. Should I take it then from salaries, or should we have another line item for TMRS?
the employee's portion is deducted from the
From their
the
paycheck,
from the salary.
yes, but then the city holds on to it and pays it anyway. It's deducted, but we make the payment to TMRS. We still have to account for what's deducted because we're giving it, it's deducted from them, but we're still making the payment to TMRS for the amount deducted, we're holding on to. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but it's a zero balance game.
Because the same amounts are taken from both.
Because it's deducted,
And then paid.
and
So the $2,000 check,
If-
as an
if
example,
we did in-house HR and payroll, we would deduct income tax, their portion of
Yes.
the health benefit, the FICA, their portion of the FICA, because we have a payroll, company do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
They deduct it and send the checks to the IRS.
Exactly. but they
and-
don't deduct, they deduct the TMRS, but it's not sent anywhere. We're keeping it. So the FICA and stuff,
So wouldn't it be a net zero, right? So we'd receive it, and it would go right out.
it would be net
Zero
zero. I've
impact.
got to account for it when I write that check or to TMRS.
But aren't you accounting it in the payroll?
But it's accounted for in the gross payroll, ma'am.
You're not gonna
Okay,
balance. it.
I'm not an accountant. And we would discuss
Yeah, we
this
can
Yeah.
discuss it because we could always add it to the agenda.
because
Budget.
we can pass these amendments tonight.
Mhm.
Uh,
Talk about the end.
do the math. Send it out to everybody, and on the 22nd, we can still amend
Sure.
if you can convince me that
To add a line.
that there needs to be a line item beyond salary.
Because when
I agree
spend it,
that-
I can take it from salary. but
Well,
I-
there has to be,
Just for sure.
line items for our portion of the TRMS.
Yes, which we
But-
had in the previous budget, but it was just,
It was a joint line item. In discussion, with Mayor Pro Tem Martinez, we would like to see the cost of the departments allocated to the various
Sure.
departments rather than just a lump sum at the end of the budget. And I hear what you're saying, but it's a zero sum game. We deduct it and send it out, but you and I and Alderman Martinez
Yeah.
will work this out in the next 2 weeks. And if we need to amend the budget on the 22nd, then we should do so. Questions, discussion?
Not related to that. I do have a question on fuel. So if we look at police department. The fuel that's 12,000 is for the Malibu, the Taurus, the Explorer, and I'm assuming not the Expedition. Correct? Can you hear me? Okay. So that's potentially $4,000 a piece. Now, my point is now if we move to Public Works, I get it, y'all are driving a whole lot more.
Well, it's been based on the added officer, not on per vehicle, it's per
Oh,
officer.
that's right. I'm just trying to, okay. Standard, okay, so I can live with that. Is the fuel for the Public Works for the 2 trucks, the tractor, the zero turn?
well, they only have one.
Was it? Is there only one?
No, we have
Oh,
They
that's
only
right,
have one
ACO has a
truck.
truck, that's right.
We have one truck. and-
So for the truck, the tractor, the zero turns.
We
Everything, all the
either
equipment, that's,
everything.
that's what that
Yeah.
5,300 comes from, okay, all right.
That's why it's a weird number.
Yeah, no, and I was just trying to figure out how you count, how it's calculated.
Yeah, fuel, but they're for fuel.
Yeah, and then ACO is $4,000. So,
Now, the Taurus gets used pretty often because we only have one public works truck. So sometimes if
Oh, you're talking about the unmarked, the regular car.
the regular tourists. the
Where does that-
DNA, the
Where
G-
is that?
Under the second page, right in the middle where it says operating expense municipal.
Mhm.
That says G&A vehicle.
That's what that is.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, $400 is not enough.
Yeah, that, because it gets used almost daily. I use it to go to the post office. Priscilla uses it in case Mike's out and about with the truck. I don't think 400's enough. It might.
Yeah.
Did we compare it to last year? Did we compare it to last year?
I don't know if we do.
Did we have numbers for last year?
Yeah, we probably do, but it
you-
was probably so
It's in your
different. from
Let
last
me-
year.
I mean-
Let me
Right,
find
but
this.
we always increase it, so where did we increase it from? You know,
Last year, it's in
Oh, we
your
had less vehicles too. so.
finance report, page 11. Um, oh, I don't-
Does it get to that granular?
Page 10.
Does it get to that? Does it get granular like that? The the GA car? Like, does the fuel get to that, level in a sense of that particular car is on this budget?
Yes, should be. I'm trying to figure out
Well,
where
let me ask a question. Uh,
There's two.
Are- are these vehicles? Do we have a card per vehicle or do we have a card per user?
Right now it's per user, but I need to get one for the tourists strictly because in actuality, when Priscilla turns in fuel cards.
Yeah.
And I input it,
And,
I mean.
and that's my thought. It's probably being allocated to
To
Public Works
Yeah.
as it is. Because our last year, the GNA vehicles showing $165.
Yeah.
So I'm,
Because I'm not taking, when I reconcile it based on the report I get from Pilot and now QT.
Yeah.
And it's by card,
Mm.
not car. So if I know that Priscilla used the card, I'm putting it under Public Works.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to find
a particular.
the
vehicle.
actual receipt where she does a great job and she'll put down on the receipts
What
that it's
vehicle?
for the tractor
Mhm.
or it's for the tourists.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing it based on who used the card, that she used her card. and then used
so
this.
as I suspect, by having the Public Works Director filling that car, it's being allocated to Public
The
Works
public,
users.
yeah, okay.
So
But I could keep a card in that car.
well,
have it used-
let's not discuss
Yeah.
our
I just didn't know if you
practices.
wanted to increase it or just leave it as is.
Well, it's actually doubled the
Yeah.
budget amount of last year, so
Okay,
the-
so it's
I-
reasonable to.
I'm thinking that the current system where when Public Works uses the vehicle and it's allocated to Public Works,
Then just use, you know,
Uh,
I understand. You're
you
right.
know, the system we have sorts where it's being allocated to.
Mhm,
That's true. It's used mostly by.
So
mhm.
could we, and I don't know, but can I make a motion to move GNA vehicle fuel and GNA vehicle maintenance into Public Works? So that way it's properly captured going forward? And would that be a reasonable?
No,
No. Did you not use that card to go to your last
I don't think,
class?
I think I reimbursed myself. Like, I
Oh, you
gave
used
the
your
receipt.
vehicle?
No, I filled it up and I used my credit card for a personal reimbursement. I think.
But
But you're
animal
at-
control, oh no, like, what
Yeah.
did animal control use?
by moving that car
Use
into
it
Public
for-
Works, now we lose the vehicle that we have that's supposed to be for her to use.
That's
here in the office.
miscellaneous. Mhm.
So by moving that on the tally sheet to Public Works, it wouldn't work. The books would fall apart on it.
I mean, that's what's being paid for it. That's what's paying for it now. That's,
But they're also looking at changing that over to where each vehicle has its own card. But we're just not working on that right at this minute.
And it did. as
And it would come out a lot
example,
easier in
it
one
used
time.
By
Each vehicle had its own
Kevin to
fuel
go
card.
to Hutto,
okay.
that card,
Yeah.
but he probably used the PD. I don't think he's allowed.
That's what we're talking about.
Good, sir,
Yeah,
please.
so just use it as a miscellaneous instead of allocating it to public. Works,
Yeah, then-
because then the budget changes. for
Okay.
Public Works.
Okay, so then I think then we just need to go ahead and make an increase to the GNA vehicle fuel and GNA vehicle maintenance. So that said, my opinion, I'd like to make a motion that we increase the GNA vehicle fuel to $1,500 in place of the $400 that it is currently.
Because then we're gonna track it under GNA, or
Correct.
we're still tracking it on the Public Works.
Right, but if we
That'll be tracked under.
If we
DNA.
move under the direction that she's mentioning,
We're gonna track
Catherine's mentioning, then we should be able to track the properly.
1,500 for each.
I think I gotta make a motion for one at a time, right?
Make a motion for one at a time, if you would, please.
1,500 for the vehicle fuel would be the motion.
Okay, I have a motion for Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to increase the GNA vehicle fuel from $400 to $1,500. Further discussion?
I'll second the motion.
With no discussion, Alderman Coppendale for seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. You had a second amendment, sir?
Yeah, the second motion would be to increase the GNA vehicle maintenance to $1,000.
Okay. I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to increase the GNA vehicle maintenance from $400 to $1,000.
I'll second.
I have a second from Alderman Rapino. Further discussion? With no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries unanimously.
Pass this thing.
I have a question. What's the NNO sponsorship?
National Night Out.
Ah. That's what we're allocating, 750?
Yeah, I don't think that's enough.
How much?
750.
Yeah,
750.
it costs
Well,
over 1,000 on some.
Mhm.
Last year we were budgeted for about 1,000.
Yeah, we need to
It
increase.
was
yeah,
2,500 last year.
So it wasn't,
okay, but what did we actually spend?
Ah. Sir, that's not how budgets work.
But.
No, but
you
you're,
start there.
so we
You start
spent
there.
600 and some odd dollars last year.
I'm
You
looking
start
at
there.
his the figure
Yeah.
as a base
That's what you base your
To-
thinking.
uh, to establish an estimate. However, sir, we're here to discuss this.
Yeah.
And you
We
may
didn't,
move an amendment to any line item in here.
Yeah,
we didn't include face painting or.
yeah, so since I'm directing
Yeah,
the National Night Out this year, things are considerably more expensive.
already.
We have food costs,
When,
kids attractions, whether it be a moon bounce, a DJ, so I think the previous budget was $2,500. If I'm not mistaken. There was something to that,
Page 11.
11,
Yeah, it was 2,500.
2,500. I'm working with the $1,800, right? So I'm okay with moving the NNO sponsorship to $1,800. I will make a motion to increase the NNO sponsorship from $750 to $1,800.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to amend the National Night Out sponsorship line item from 750 to, say it again, sir,
$1,800.
$1,800. I have a second from Alderman Rapino. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that carries unanimously. Okay, do we have any further discussion?
No further discussion.
Are y'all tracking 13 amendments we suggest that we wanted to see to this?
Yeah. Yes.
I
Well,
was just making sure I kept count correct.
Okay.
Make sure we got what we did to take care of there.
I was relying on you, Marty.
I didn't hear you.
I was relying on you, Marty. I'm kidding.
Well, bless your heart.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, we have choices now. We can either adopt the budget with or without amendments, or postpone the vote to another time. Can we adopt the amendments alone?
Well, they've been adopted
Already.
individually.
They've been
So when-
adopted individually,
Yes, sir.
so
So when the budget is adopted, eventually it will be adopted with the amendments.
with the
And that
amendments,
will be stated in
okay.
the motion.
I'd like to postpone, make a motion to postpone this until September 22nd at our next meeting. So that way, when this is all typed up, it doesn't have our individual notes all over it.
Okay,
That's an agenda item.
okay, we have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer to postpone the adoption of the amended budget to September 22nd. Discussion?
I'll second.
Okay, with no discussion, we have a second from Alderwoman Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimously, that is postponed until September 22nd. Okay,
Hey, Charles? Thanks
Sir.
for getting on this quick and early for us, so we do have time to do it. Not being sarcastic.
You all see a motion to conclude the hearing on the budget.
ma'am,
I motion to conclude the public hearing on the budget.
okay. I've lost the page here.
Well, I'll make a
It's
motion.
on.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to conclude the public hearing on the budget
I'll second it.
at 7:29 PM.
I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez to close the public discussion of the budget at 7:29 PM. I have a second from Alderman Rapino. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The public hearing is closed. The time is 7:29. This concludes the public part of the budget hearing as required by state law. Okay. Agenda item 4A has been postponed. Agenda item 4B. Discuss and or possible action on ordinance 2022-212 ratifying the property tax increase reflected in the 2022 fiscal year budget. We can move forward on that one.
Correct.
Okay. Okay,
Can't move forward, right?
no,
You can't move forward? Is that what you said?
I said, can we?
Oh,
can
no,
move forward?
it'll be adopted after the budget is adopted. Once
Adopted
the-
after the budget.
Tax rate is determined based on the adopted budget.
Okay, so item 4B will be postponed until September 22nd. And we're now finished with that. Can we move to agenda item 5?
Yes, sir.
All right, agenda item 5, mayor and administrator announcements and updates. Our road bond issue is moving forward, and I expect the engineers to give us a presentation on September 22nd. What they propose to do, how much it's going to cost. We'll consider that either approved or disapproved. And at that point, we can look at posting the project for bids. That's the biggie. So moving on to agenda item 6, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted in one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the agenda and considered separately. 6A, approved minutes from the August 25th, 2022 regular city council meeting. 6B, approved invoice number 5 from 6S Engineering, not to exceed $9,696.80.
There's no discussion. I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as described in agenda item 6.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented from Alderman Rapino.
I'll second it.
I have a second from Alderman Coffindapper. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries unanimously. Financial report. The income and expenses for August 2022 will be reported by City Secretary Catherine Yelton with possible discussion and or action. Ms. Yelton, you have the floor.
Thank you. So the general fund as of the first of the month of August, 2022, the beginning balance was $220,800.12. We had checks and payments that totaled $116,351.28. Deposits of $117,960.29, leaving us an ending balance as of August 31st, 2022 of $222,409.13. If you move to page, there's no question, if you move to page 13, second to the last page. This would be the ARPA reconciliation. We had a beginning balance as of August 1st of $157,612.76. We had a payment of $6,584. And those, so typically when we have been doing the assistance, the living assistance, I've been paying out of the general fund and then reimbursing. If you turn to page 14, you'll see payments that have been going to one of our contractors that I'm able to pay out of the ARPA fund. So that's where you're seeing that $65,084. Those, since they're coming, they gotta come out of ARPA anyway, so I'm just doing it that way. So that's why you see the checks and payments. So then we have an ending balance as of August 31st, 2022 of $451,028.76. The last page, the bond account, as of August 1st was at $659,780.25. You can flip over to see where the checks and payments were, which was the payment that was approved last month for 6S. And then the deposit of interest, bringing us a cleared ending balance as of August 31st, of $639,612.70.
Comments, discussion?
On the first page, it mentions ADP wage. There's a,
PP page,
on
Page
on
one?
page 2, I'm sorry.
okay,
So there's a group
so
of,
far then,
about midway through, right? There's a,
ADP wage.
right, there's a group, right? But then right below the last one, 3 lines below, there's a specific name called out. What's the, is that another wage or?
Wait, what are you talking-
What name?
Oh, two name,
8/15/2022, 1,100.
So for 1,124.12.
1,000, let's see where you're talking.
Right.
About halfway down the page.
Yeah, so look at all your ADP wages, the bundle of them,
Mhm.
and then 1, 2, 3 lines down.
Oh, so,
Gee,
there's a memo line where I usually put that.
Mhm.
For Priscilla and myself, since for a while she was doing both jobs, I split 50-50 between ACO and Public Works. So that memo field does not get populated when when we run the report. So, if you look at the budget details beginning on page 5. And then you find, for example, ACO. Let's see. Okay, go to page 8. On the very top, you'll see ADP wage pay. That's where the memo field gets populated. So, the amount that Priscilla got paid was then split 50-50. So you've got 50% under ACO, and then you should find under Public Works salary, 50% of her pay went to Public Works. Does that make sense? So look at page
Yeah.
8 at the top. It says P. Schmidt 50%.
Mhm.
Look at the next page 9, almost right in the middle where it says Public Works salaries.
Yeah,
You'll also see P. Schmidt 50%.
right,
So her pay was split 50-50.
because she was covering both.
Yeah, and then mine's the same, because I'm splitting half my pay towards the city clerk and half towards the court. I'm doing both.
Okay,
So if the budget details, the memo gets populated, if you just go to the budget, the general fund reconciliation detail, it does not populate the memo field when you split, if that makes sense.
yes and no. So I understand what you're telling me,
Mhm,
but I see 2 entries. Right, so if you look at the ADP wage,
mhm.
there's one for 2331.77,
31, okay.
okay? And then again,
The police department.
right, and then 5 or so lines down, there's an additional for the same person for 1,124.12.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. So payroll messed up. a couple of pay periods ago.
I remember that.
You remember that? So their system was down. I couldn't submit payroll until the last minute. She finally called me and said, submit it now and I'll process it. So I did. And we didn't get paid that Friday. So I called her and she said, you will get paid on Monday. I said, well, don't submit it until I know that, I said, there's some people that might need that check today and I'm gonna have to write them a physical check.
Right.
So everyone was able to wait until Monday and one person was not. So I wrote him a physical check.
Okay.
What she did was she still accidentally submitted it. He got paid
Twice?
but then it got reversed. But because it got paid, it shows in the bank is paid and then reversed, I have to account for that. I want the reconciliation to match the bank.
Okay. So is the reversal in here somewhere?
It should be, yes. Deposits and credits. Actually, if you just go to the budget.
Yeah, I think I see
itself.
it. I see it, yeah. Okay,
There it is.
okay, cool.
Okay.
Yes, on page 3, it's reversed on the deposits and credits, ma'am.
Okay, page 3.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
If there are no further questions, I'll make a motion that we accept the budget, financial report as reported.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Rapino to approve the financial report as presented.
I'll second.
I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez. Further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries unanimously. Agenda item 8, Police Department updates and announcements from Chief Lopez with possible discussion and or action. Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening, council, mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Alderwoman. For monthly or activity report for the month of August. Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize. No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Agenda item 8B, presentation of monthly report by Chief Lopez. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. Once again, monthly activity report for the month of August. Starting at the top, we had 88 court defendants, 175 cases. Moving down to traffic stops, as you can see, compared to last month, we had 116. August, we had 176 traffic stops. Citation, we had 218 citations issued, 79 warnings given. Moving down to calls for service, myself, I had 11 calls for service. Corporal Castillo had 19, and Officer Maldonado had 25 calls for service reports. Moving down to arrested person, we had 5 assist other law enforcement agencies, 1 call for service, 3 calls for service for Bear County Fire, 2 assist EMS. Moving down to animal cruelty and neglect, had 1 call for there. Moving down to all the way down to civil matter, 5 calls for service. On the next page, 1 criminal mischief call. We had 2 calls for service for illegal burning, 2 citations were issued there. We also moving on to city ordinance violation commercial vehicle, 1 citation was issued as well. And then city ordinance violations for dogs. On that particular one, we had 6 citations issued for dogs. 1 damaged property, moving down to disturbance verbal, 2 calls for service. 1 call for service for fire structure. 1 found property, 5 information reports, 6 narcotics laws. What I mean by narcotics laws, possession of marijuana. 6 citations were probably issued for that one. Patrol by, 1 patrol by, 1 reckless driver, next page. 1 runaway call for service, suspicious person, 2 calls for service, 2 thefts, 3 welfare checks, and 2 towed vehicles. And then if you're looking at for the individuals that were arrested, we had 3 non-residents and 2 residents. 1, 2, 3 SAPD traffic warrants, and then 1 unlawful carry and possession of a controlled substance. So month of August was pretty busy.
Is it a fair calculation to say 218 citations by 176 stops? So a total of basically one and a quarter tickets per stop.
Just depends on the violator. Some, 1 traffic stop can yield from 1 to 5 citations.
Right.
Yeah, so it varies.
Okay. Good productivity. And 79 warnings, so. You're being fair.
I understand the unlawful carry when there's a possession of controlled substances. What about the other unlawful carry?
The unlawful carry was minor for possession of marijuana as well.
Okay, because they didn't say nothing about that on there.
Yeah.
Just said unlawful, but it was a minor at that.
Well, he receives a citation for possession of drug paraphernalia because of the drugs. You're not allowed to have
Oh, I absolutely
those
agree.
2 things are not
Yeah,
compatible.
yeah, if you're breaking the law, you can't carry.
Yeah.
It's funny how that's written. God bless Texas.
Okay. Further discussion, questions? Thank you, Chief, for your report.
Oh, thank you.
Agenda item 9, animal control updates and announcements from the Animal Control Advisory Committee Chair Debbie Martinez with possible discussion and or action.
I'm getting several calls from people that are not real happy that some of the animals that were picked up may have to be euthanized. We're not a no-kill shelter, guys. Can't be. I'm not real happy about it myself. I'm an animal lover, but it has to happen. Now, take care of your animals.
They're welcome to foster. Complaining
I'm a volunteer.
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
volunteer,
that's what I tell them.
but we can only hold some hand.
That's what I tell them when they call me.
Yeah, that's a very common
Yeah.
complaint that the Animal Control Advisory Committee fields.
Yep,
Mayor.
I believe Chief wants to.
We have never advertised as a no-kill shelter. Sir,
So I definitely understand where you're going with that. You're an animal lover. And there's, like I said, there's always 2 sides to that coin. People, of course, social media is a big thing. Any dog. But citizens have to take responsibility
Yes, they do.
for this issue as well. For us to turn this around, it's not going to take months. This is going to take years because the amount of volume that the city has.
Yes.
So we have to be able to turn that table around. It does take time to, it's not an easy feat for one animal control officer to take care of 8 to 20 dogs. This is it's a constant 7-day taking care of these dogs.
okay,
So we
Chief,
have to.
I want to interrupt you and
Sure.
I would like you to make that presentation to the ACAC committee.
Okay.
When is that? Next week?
no, the next one will be 2 weeks from last Monday.
Oh, because
Because of the holiday, we didn't have a meeting.
I think that's 19th, isn't
I think
26th?
Not sure.
it? Monday the 19th.
I,
Is that live?
2 weeks from next
live?
Monday?
Correct.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so the next meeting will be 6:30 PM, September 19th. I thank you, ma'am. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Agenda item 10, Parks and Recreation, update and announcements from Park Advisory Chair, Committee Chair Alderman Rufino with possible discussion and or action.
the ACO.
Is 10B not?
Well,
10B.
where did I go? Yep,
I think it's here. So.
10B, presentation of monthly report, I'm sorry. Animal control, agenda item 10B, presentation of monthly report. ACO Tucker is not with us tonight, but Officer Maldonado will be presenting the report. Sir, you have the floor.
Good evening, council. My name is Officer Maldonado. So kickoff area is still in training. I'm training currently. We will be giving the reports from here on out, but today we were unable to stay here, so I'll be doing the report today. Everybody has a copy of the report, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's not too much information, but it does give you some numbers on there. The outcomes of the animals, the total number of animals, and then the total inventory that we have currently. Does anybody have questions on numbers or stats or anything like that?
So there's 8 dogs in custody, correct? And we've received 18 in the last 30-day month
You know,
In August.
in August. Okay.
We've 20 were outcomes, which means from previous months or the current month, 20 of those animals were released in August.
Yeah, okay, I see. Okay, it's here. Okay. Return to owner euthanasia, clinic out. I don't know what that second line says.
deal.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And trying to, okay, I see.
Is there any more information you would request? Because I know it's just numbers and looking at.
How long have these 8 been in,
I'm sorry.
how long have these 8 that we currently have been in our facility?
So I don't have an answer for you right now, but there's a pet point programs we have, system we use. You have to go to every individual dog and see, go back to every day that,
Can we get that going forward?
Oh, yeah.
Just the average,
But tracking,
yeah, just how long those 8 have been here.
so in the
Yeah.
future, when we have
Yeah.
an inventory, how long?
Right. So like if you were to present these 8 again, because that's what we have, how long
long
have
have they
each
been
of those 8 been here?
Right.
Right? Well, the first one's been here 10 days, whatever.
Because as we all know, we don't like euthanasia, but we are trying to make sure they're being moved on.
Right.
So no,
So you want to know if they've been 30 days, 8 days, 2 days, right?
and if you would, tell us, how many volunteers do we need to help us and foster families?
As many as we can get.
Take a guess. Right now, you're thinking, what, 8 or 20?
If we can get 2 volunteers, that'd be great.
I have
But I'm saying
some.
like, the more the merrier, man. If we get 1,
Even better.
it's 1. It's more than we got right now. We have 0.
And you need a lot more on the weekends, don't you?
Right. If we get volunteers on the weekends, that's a great help. Obviously, the employees right now are tasked with doing that, so they don't want to come off over here.
Well, they'd still have to come out though, right?
To observe, yeah,
Yeah,
if there's somebody.
But just to have some help though.
Right.
Okay.
But you could also allocate it to somebody to see, let's say the volunteer's been here 3 years.
Well, the foster volunteers too. I just figured I'd throw it out here. We're talking the numbers. I hope somebody decides to watch this later on and go, holy cow, there's an idea. I can foster some of these animals instead of calling the city council, and complaining about them.
Yeah.
Put down when they could have been fostered.
We did have one citizen that was interested in 2 of the dogs, until he realized that they're puppies. He thought they were, adult dogs. And he was going to adopt both of them, but realizing they were puppies and they're not in a position to, be able to keep those. He still came out and donated $100. The adoption fee, he went ahead and donated.
Oh,
That was pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have no other questions for you, sir. Thank you.
And I want to give kudos to Officer Maldonado. He's doing a great job with
Yeah,
training.
any other discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, Officer Maldonado has been working with our new animal control, officer, bringing him along with training and thank you, sir. With no more discussion, let's move to agenda item 10A. Update announcements from Park Advisory Committee Chair Rapino, with possible discussion and or action. You have the floor, sir.
We had a meeting on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and we discussed many things. It was a pretty good meeting. We had members that had come back that had been absent because of illness and other things. We had a pretty full house. And we discussed the play area, and getting some doggy stations at the end of, and the beginning of the walking trail. I mean, where the people can pick up their animal waste and dispose of it. And the people in the community center were interested in getting a storage shed moved closer to the community center. They were also interested in getting their air conditioning moved or fixed. But it's not available right now. The parts aren't available, or the system is not available, and they were happy to know that it would probably be in October when they got it. But it was a good meeting overall, and it one of the highlights where we celebrated the mayor's birthday with a cake and cupcakes. And the next meeting will be October the 4th.
Yeah.
National Night Out, sir?
Oh.
Is it National Night Out?
It is.
Yes, it is.
I will adjust that. That's true. It is National Night Out, so I'll adjust that meeting too.
Move it a week later.
Yeah, I'll move it to the following week.
October 11th.
Okay, so then October 11th, we
Yes.
will be looking at a park committee meeting. All right, sir. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, we're open, but Veterans Day is that Monday. I don't know if that makes a difference. November 11th. Oh, it's in November.
No,
November.
November 11th.
that's right. So October,
Veterans Day is in November.
why,
It's November 11th, sir, one
She was
day
thinking that
after the
it was
Marine Corps
October.
birthday.
Yeah, there's no.
We even
holiday
let the
in
Marines
October.
have birthdays.
well, this is,
Oh,
that's right.
Monday is Columbus Day.
I knew there was something.
Or if you're
But-
PC.
Well, if,
Pigeons.
Okay, maybe we move on to the agenda items at this point, please. Agenda item 10, Public Works updates and announcements from Public Works Director Priscilla Smith with possible discussion at our action. You have the floor, ma'am. Do you have updates?
It's in the agenda. She-
Okay, I'm assuming you have no updates, ma'am.
I received, some estimates for the building.
Okay, that's agenda item 11B, discuss and or possible action on quotes received for repairs and construction to City Hall and related matters. Would that be it, ma'am? Okay, would you like to present the estimates?
Ended up getting an estimate from Louis Gonzalez to work on a walk room that, the city's been trying to get completed since we've opened up the city.
Yes,
It would consist of a shower, an eye wash station, a washer dryer, whether it be for blankets.
Matt, you got plumbing for a washer and dryer, not for a washer and dryer, but for the
Yes, thank
connections.
you.
Yeah, okay.
Then, we still have, part of the building that needs to be repaired, which is the, if you want to call it the employee lobby. On the other side of the secure door. That, is gonna have two doors. One for down the public works hallway and then one down the judge's hallway. So that we can have the restrooms open to the public for
Okay,
any types of meetings that we might have. We can close the building off and have access to restrooms.
all right.
this courtroom or this conference room here also has significant damage. This is part of the quote as well, to get this room replaced, get it repaired. And then we have 3 rooms down the PD room, down the PD hallway that also would need to be repaired. And I received 2 quotes for those things to be taken care of. James remodeling and then Lewis Gonzalez.
Okay, do you have recommendations, ma'am?
Um. I know the cost of materials are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I've looked at this correctly, J and Z remodelers apparently will include, I believe in we call it the washroom, the employee washroom.
Okay.
That's also including the electrical. And that quote is kind of expensive. For the electrical. But in the Lewis Gonzalez one, does not include electrical.
Okay,
Also, in the Lewis Gonzalez, it just says it'll have plumbing connections, but who's gonna plumb?
He's gonna actually put it on
Tap into the water.
the JNC or?
No, I was looking at the first one, Gonzalez, where he just said it was with plumbing connections. The water
Right,
station.
But compared to JNC, JNC's gonna do all of it, not just the
It
connection.
needs to be.
Okay, so at James Z remodelers is, that is including. So you have 1, install all necessary plumbing and water supply lines. Then on line item number 3, install all necessary plumbing, drains, washing, machine and plugs for electrical.
So you're telling me that under Gonzalez, it's about half of the work being done, but J and Z looks like they're actually wanting to do the entire job.
Correct.
And what's the total for everything?
From what I've seen from
So there's.
Gonzalez, that'd be about 16,800 according to his estimates. And under J and Z, the total price would be 25,779.
This includes plumbing work and
But with J and Z, we don't have to look for somebody else
Complete.
to finish the project when it's totally done.
I've also, told both of these contractors, that, we've also, had a public works employee, Mike Commandado. We had, y'all had approved that we, do the lobby, the front entrance lobby. We bought materials for that. We also bought materials, some doors were donated from the gentleman down off Priest Road to the city. Also willing to offer any other doors we might need. But I've explained to J and Z Remodeling and also Luis Gonzalez that there is still material left over from Mike Amandado trying to finish up these projects, but we just got too much to do out there in the field that we don't have time to do it. So they both are taken into consideration the material that we already have, that the city's already approved for that material, whether it be baseboard material, 2x4s, sheetrock, plywood, whatever may be needed. And there's an extra door also in the mudroom right now, because it's kind of like our supply. So they're taking all that material to use.
So are the totals true totals considering that?
Okay, ma'am. Would you care to make a recommendation as to best value to the city?
I would, and I would say probably J and Z Remodeling. I've seen the work they've done, and they're also including the electrical in this, where he's able to contract, take care of everything. So we won't have to take care of any of that.
Thank you.
Yep.
What's their timeline? I'm sorry,
Go ahead, sir.
their timelines. How long would it take either or to complete the job, start to finish?
I think that would depend on like the items that they need.
That's what's gonna be my situation. I was
Yeah.
gonna explain to you though. I mean, considering the world that we live in today, it's depends on if
Everything.
they can get their hands on the material. Like I'm still waiting for a dog wash tub to come through. And I'm just waiting for it to be shipped to us. So it's been ordered, but
So they didn't give you a timeline?
kind of, but it still may not get here.
What is,
J and Z remodeling, you probably would be looking at finishing, completing it. I would say probably 30 days.
okay,
It could be longer, but if that's something you are needing to know, I mean, I can get that.
I was just wanting a guesstimation on what
Yeah.
if either one of them gave you some sort of a timeline. But you said J and Z said about 30 days.
No, he did not say that, but I would assume that it would take him probably about 30 days to get this completed.
I've
Okay.
heard 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's not apples to apples anyhow.
And I think J and Z Remodelers was also open to doing the art offices on the weekend, if I'm correct, you know. I think we talked about, both of them about,
'Cause that's the tough part is the down the law enforcement hallway. The doors are locked, so we have to have that door unlocked, but we also don't want it unlocked and there's not somebody here, so.
Did Gonzalez Construction give you that kind of leeway as well? Okay.
Looking at this, I would conclude that Gonzalez Construction was not responsive to the
Needs.
needs.
Mhm.
Yeah, they weren't very descriptive at all.
You need a motion.
Where's the money coming from? I don't see that.
Okay,
Is it the plan for ARPA?
Well, yeah, your counsel, sir. Yeah, we-
I just, cause I'm looking at the budget, I don't see $25,000 laying around here. Which is,
These were already accounted for, no? Oh, no, that's for the public. This is for the city. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a budget for the city?
yeah, it's-
So are you looking at?
Yeah.
this would be a proper use of ARPA funds.
Oh, okay, so then,
Do we need approval or do we don't need approval? We can just do it.
Well, I would suggest that a motion to approve or disapprove one of the other proposals.
Mayor Fillinger, did we account for the next deposit of ARPA funds?
Not at all now.
Right, we see.
Yeah, until it gets in the bank. we
Right,
do
and
not.
that's what, we need to realize that will be there eventually.
I looked at it today and it's in batch processing mode right now.
But I believe that's where we're going with this, as far as ARPA funds.
I'd make a motion that we accept the estimate from J and Z Remodeling
Okay,
I'll
for an
second.
amount not to exceed $26,000.
okay, I have a motion from Alderman Coppendapper to approve the J and Z remodeling quote not to exceed $26,000. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Alderwoman Alvarado to approve the JNC remodeling quote not to exceed $26,000. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries
Aye.
unanimously. Now let's discuss how we're gonna pay for this.
You mentioned ARPA funds.
My suggestion would be to utilize the ARPA funds.
No.
We'll leave that to our finance.
Probably the
here,
only way
council
we could
member.
pay for it.
I mean,
We got you a job, you gotta pay for it
that's the,
now.
only yeah.
Come on, Dad. Break up
Well,
the wood, Jess.
are you saying that?
Well, no, so I guess kind of looking at it, right? There's PD that's getting help,
Right.
that's getting built out. There's the judges, right? So I'm just trying to look at the various budgets and see where there's extra, so we don't have to use ARPA funds. Because when I think of ARPA, I think of the citizens, and granted, this is the citizens' own building.
Mhm.
But I think of the programs that Charles was doing, so then I'm thinking, well, if it's not in our budget, how do we, like,
Well, we actually have out of the first tranche, close to $200,000
Yeah.
unallocated funds
Right.
in for ARPA.
And we've accounted for what we've already done
But we,
previously, so.
oh, I mean, I agree that the only way we can afford this is to use ARPA.
Yeah, and if we don't use them, then we take it back.
I mean, if it's not in my budget, I can't spend it, but that's not to say that nobody
yeah,
else
at
can.
$25,000 as a capital improvement project, I would say the ARPA fund would be applicable.
Oh, I don't disagree. I just have other visions for ARPA. Because I think of programs like you and Grace are heading up, so. And I don't see capital improvements, in my opinion, as the right place for it, but
So,
that's just my opinion.
so you do approve it, but you're saying it should come out of the city, budget?
Well, if you had the budget for it, right, that's what we would do, but
Is the budget in public works?
there's not enough budget in public works to afford 25,000.
Okay,
Well, it's all taxpayer money, so,
Many
you know,
Yeah,
And that's not.
yeah, and that's not something we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
there's always some big
I'm not the only person here,
Pocket is
guys, so y'all
coming.
can make a motion without me.
Oh, yeah, but
Well, I'm-
you consider your.
I'm
thoughts.
trying to let you figure out where you believe the money should come from.
Well,
All right,
Where
let me
it's
follow
at,
those
that would be
Yeah,
best.
sir.
it's all, we can. I make a motion that we use the ARPA funds as, it's all taxpayer money, so,
And I second it.
okay.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Rapino to allocate an amount not to exceed $26,000 from the ARPA fund for the municipal repairs and improvement, municipal building repairs and improvement. I have a second from Alderwoman Alvarado. All in favor say aye, and opposed. That passes unanimously.
No, I'll second, up and down, Brendan.
No.
Okay,
Up and down, Brendan.
I had all the.
Okay, the 26,000.
You have repeated
Mhm.
Not to exceed 26,000.
for the ARPA, okay,
So Papa made the motion for the remodeling.
right,
Mr. Rapino made the motion to take it out of ARPA.
Correct.
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, we-
Oh, that's all on you.
moving on. Please,
Hmm.
to agenda item. Are we up to 12 now? Please tell me we're up to 12.
We
Yep.
are,
Yeah, mhm.
and that could be postponed.
Second.
Again,
Okay, agenda item 12, administration, old business, we shall postpone that again. Uh, Moving to agenda item 13, new business, discuss and or possible action on resolution 2022-170. Rescheduling the public hearing on the tax rate for 2022.
So we need a motion, Steve.
Yes, we do need a motion.
Okay, I will make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-170. Resolution of the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, rescheduling the public hearing on the tax rate for 2022. Whereas the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks adopted resolution number 2022-167 regarding the maximum proposed ad valorem tax for 2022. The city council will consider and setting the tax rate hearing for September 8, 2022, and adoption of the tax rate on September 22nd, 2022. And whereas to comply with chapter 26 of the property tax code and chapter 102 of the local government code, the public hearing date on the tax rate for 2022 must be rescheduled. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, the public hearing on the tax rate for the city of Sandy Oaks for 2022 to consider maximum proposed ad valorem tax rate of 0.256259 cents per 100 taxable value is rescheduled from 6:30 p.m. on September 8, 2022 to September 22, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. and will be held at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, 78112, and by video/telephone conference. The council will adopt the 2022 ad valorem tax rate at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, 78112 on September 22, 2022 at public hearing. Resolved on this 8th day of September 2022. Gosh.
I have a motion from Alderman Rutino to adopt resolution number 2022-170. May I have a second?
A second.
I have a second from Alderwoman Martinez. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Alderman Rufino.
You ever say 2022 again?
September 22, 2022.
Okay, agenda item 13B. Discuss and or possible action on ordinance number 2022-213, canceling the general election to be held on November 8, 2022, and declaring unopposed candidates elected and canceling the special election to be held on November 8, 2022, and declaring unopposed candidates elected. I'm going to ask Alderwoman Alvarado to read the introduction to ordinance 2022-213. And after the reading of the heading, it will be open for discussion. You have the floor, Alderwoman.
Una ordenanza del Consejo Municipal de la ciudad de Sandy Oaks, Texas, cancelando la elección general en celebrarse el día 8 de noviembre 2022 con el propósito de elegir el alcalde y el concejal del lugar 2 y el concejal del lugar 4 y declarando candidatos sin oposiciones elegidos y cancelando la elección especial a celebrarse el día 8 de noviembre 2022 con el propósito de elegir el concejal del lugar 1, duración restante del cargo, y el concejal del lugar 5, duración restante del cargo, y declarando candidatos sin oposiciones elegidos.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I hope everybody's had time to review the ordinance. Is there any discussion or questions?
Swearing not opposed.
Okay, may I have a motion concerning ordinance number 2022 213?
What do you need?
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2022-213.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-213 from Alderman Coppendapper and a second from Alderman Rapino. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. And I'm going to postpone discussion and or possible action on the Merced Housing Texas Owner Occupied Repair Program. Ma'am, until September 22nd. And with that, I would entertain a motion for agenda item 14.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned at 8:22 p.m.
Not bad.
And in military time, that's 2022.
Oh. Don't ever say that word again.
I just realized that we're military.
It is 2022, you're right.
2022.
And I like just about 20 seconds of calling for a recess.
Yeah.
One second.